Esparragoza 3 years older. And there you see the record of Esparragoza, 24-1 with 3 draws and 18 knockouts.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you the ring officials assigned here by the World Boxing Association for this World Championship fight. Your referee in the ring from Puerto Rico, Ismael Fernandez. Your judges from Panama, A Torres. From Japan, Masakazu Uchida. From Canada, Jutras. Your official timekeepers, Robert Ballou Sr. and Jr., attending ringside positions, Dr. William Gardner, Dr. James E. Marr. And now, let us introduce to you the challenger. Coming out of the blue corner from Caracas, Venezuela. He weighed in at 125 3/4 pounds. His professional boxing record, 24 wins, 1 loss, and 3 draws. Here is the #1 contender in the World Boxing Association, Antonio Esparragoza. His opponent, coming out of the red corner from Fort Worth, Texas. Weighed in at 126 pounds. His professional boxing record of 27 victories, 1 defeats with 14 by knockouts. Introducing the World Boxing Association featherweight champion of the world, little Stevie Cruz.
Memorial Coliseum crowd solidly behind Stevie Cruz, and Cruz's trainer Joe Barrientos says if Esparragoza thinks he's going to take the title back to Venezuela, he is mistaken, because hey, Esparragoza better bring his lunch, because Stevie Cruz is an all-day job, and certainly it's going to be a good fight. Cruz is ready, Esparragoza is ready. Cruz, as we mentioned at the top of the show, does have something to prove, gentlemen, because although he took the title from McGuigan, then he thought he's just a caretaker holder. In other words, it belongs to somebody else, like in Esparragoza.
Well, the fact that he won in an upset, he was not, so's a late entry, I guess you'd figure, and the conditions were very controversial, 110 degrees. McGuigan not ready for that. Cruz was. Tonight, Stevie Cruz gets to prove if he does deserve to wear the belt.
Steve Cruz, 23-year-old from Fort Worth, Texas, National Golden Gloves champ in 1981. Successful amateur career. And he has had a good career. Turned pro at age 17, and right now he's fought 28 pro fights, the same as Esparragoza. We're underway with round 1. 15 rounds of this WBA championship. How about the scoring on this fight, Randy?
The rules in the title fight are the same as they are in the state of Texas, except for one thing. If there's a headbutt, 3 rounds have to be complete. 3 rounds are complete, then they'll go to the scorecard. Before 3 rounds, it's a technical draw. Otherwise, the scoring is on a 10-point must system. The 3 knockdown rule is in effect. There is no standing 8 count and no saving by the bell. Also, the mandatory 8 count is in effect.
Esparragoza says he's never been knocked down or out. And Stevie Cruz uncut in 28 pro fights. So something looking to give way tonight.
The biggest thing Stevie Cruz maybe has to guard that against, I guess, would be getting almost a little too juiced up. This crowd is really behind him, and he's just got to maybe just calm down a little bit and not try to fight this first round so much commotion, but he's getting some good combinations in right now. Esparragoza shakes that right hand out there, much like Jeff Chandler did a couple years ago, and it's kind of menacing, but might just take your eye off it occasionally.
Menacing, almost tantalizing. Octavio Quinones was Esparragoza's last victim. He fell victim to that. He was a knockout victim.
Well, a lot of that's the nervous energy coming right through the right hand. Sometimes they don't even realize they're doing it. Seeing so much bounce from Esparragoza. He's just settled down. He's thinking on defense, and he's trying to get his jab set up.
As far as strategy goes, Cruz receiving advice from his stablemates Curry and Hatcher. Curry says go to the body, it hurts, and Gene Hatcher says you might want to stay outside, so we'll have to wait to see how that unfolds.
You saw Esparragoza try that right hand, and he did get it in.
Well, John, you did mention Cruz has certainly got his fair share of advice the past week from everybody from Donald Curry, Mad Dog Hatcher, his dad, I'm sure people on the street, but he'll fight his own fight. That's counter-punching, and maybe, as Randy pointed out, maybe just a little bit stronger than Esparragoza.
And you know, sometimes the hometown crowd works to your disadvantage because you get so pumped up, you actually try a little bit too hard. You get tense. Esparragoza, he really has nothing to lose. And sometimes getting so psyched up hearing the boos, he'll fight even harder.
Esparragoza's trademark is the right cross coming over the left jab, and so far waiting to unleash that weapon.
Been a pretty good round for Esparragoza, I think. 3 good right hands have found Cruz's chin so far.
Just 10 seconds to go here on our scorecard main event. We've got 15 rounds to go. And into the corner with Stevie Cruz, who knows he's in a war. That's one round complete. We'll be back with more after this. Stay with us.
Let's thank some of the folks.
Looking into the Cruz of Antonio Esparragoza, this is John Losing back ringside along with Randy Gordon and Hugh Millay. We're into round 2 now, shortly of this 15-round championship fight. And we take a look at the ledger on both sides of the ring, gentlemen, and you have to say that Esparragoza has fought the tougher competition. Bernardo Pinango, the current WBA bantamweight champ. Esparragoza beat him as an amateur. He's been tangled up with De La Rosa, has beaten him too. What about Cruz, though? Has he fought the caliber of competition?
Yes, he has, and even in losing to Lenny Valdez, Lenny, you're not going to call him really a real prospect. He's a good, solid club fighter who, about 2.5 years ago, knocked out Cruz in the first round. That's his only loss, but I think he learned from that. He learned adversity. He learned he has to keep those hands up.
Talk about learning from your mistakes. Esparragoza's only loss came against A Torres, his 5th fight, but 5 months later in '82, he came back to knock Torres out.
But some of the other names on the list of Stevie Cruz in a row, he fought Juan Veloz, Tommy Cordova, and Rocky Garcia. 3 tough guys. Each one of them he beat.
You mentioned Pinango and the fact that fighting in the hostile area as Esparragoza is, Pinango just fed off it at the Forum 3 weeks ago against Duarte, and I sense that same thing with Antonio Esparragoza. He likes almost being the villain in this picture.
Sometimes it works against the hometown fighter to have his crowd so behind him. Right now, Stevie Cruz very tense, very tight.
I picked that up in the first, and even his look is tight. He just doesn't look like he's as free as he should be, and Esparragoza has this mean stare about him.
Little ring rust for Esparragoza. He's been an active fighter, fought 5 times in '83, 4 times in '84, 3 times in '85, 3 times in '86, and once already in January of this year when Esparragoza knocked out Octavio Quinones in Phoenix, Arizona.
And on the other side of the card, Cruz fighting once in the past 8 months, an uninspired performance back in November. So the non-title fight, but they're mixing up pretty good in the ring right now.
Well, the 7-5 odds in favor of Cruz tell you that he is but a slight favorite. And so far, got his hands full here in the 2nd round.
Got to remember, against Barry McGuigan, he started rather slow also, then came on in that brutal heat of Las Vegas.
The 6th round was a turning point of that fight. Took the Wiggins title away, and we're talking about a rematch now, but that may or may not come about as McGuigan thinks about moving up to the junior lightweight category.
I just saw Donald Curry get up on the other side of the ring and yell a few words in there, so obviously it's Team Cruz over there right now trying to get Stevie in gear.
All right, a trickle of blood now out of the nose of Esparragoza. Nothing serious just yet, but he's seen him wipe that away. 20 seconds to go, round 2.
Look how Esparragoza is holding Cruz behind the head with the left hand, trying to pull him onto the end of a right hand.
It's a Venezuelan trick, as we've seen before.
And it comes from Philadelphia and all over the place, too.
Ismael Fernandez steps in to prevent any after-the-bell activity.
And I felt that Stevie got more to the fight the last 60 seconds of the 2nd round. I think he landed a couple. You can see a little more confidence. And Esparragoza is going to have to be a little more cognizant of Cruz because I think he's easing into the fight, as Randy pointed out. He's not a quick starter. He's a guy who's a counter-puncher. He likes to get in the flow of things before he attacks.
Let's put this decision into context by taking a look at the current WBA rankings. Cruz atop Esparragoza was #1 when McGuigan was the champ. So Esparragoza with something to prove tonight, finally getting his shot. And down the line, you see Marcos Villasana, former victim of Azuma Nelson, and Bernard Taylor, the American, who hasn't shown much activity.
You see the guy at #6 there? He's part of the Josephine Abercrombie stable, the HBA stable. Calvin Grove, silky smooth, 28-0. Can that guy box?
Round 3 is underway. Cruz once again looking a little tight, but it could be more his style than so much. Actually, he doesn't look as tense, but Esparragoza comes out and certainly gets in some nice jabs.
Talking about an Azuma Nelson, Calvin Grove fight down the road. If Nelson can get by Mauro Gutierrez, and that fight tomorrow on the Bone Crusher Tyson undercard. But first, business at hand, and it's Stevie Cruz his opponent. Cruz in the green trunks, Esparragoza red with the white trim.
Stevie started to look a little looser than he looked in those first 2 rounds. That time he walked into a left hand. Talk about loose. Esparragoza is very loose.
Stevie Cruz, trained by Papa Joe Barrientos. You saw him in the Miranda corner, and also by his father, Steve Sr. And Steve Sr. says Cruz is a conservative fighter, a conservative puncher, but he's going to have to be active tonight to come back. So far lagging after 2 rounds here against Esparragoza.
Now there's a couple other guys over there. Mad Dog Hatcher's father's in the corner, so there's like 5 or 6 guys over there. So it's decisions by pretty much centered over there in the Cruz corner.
Decision by committee in the Cruz corner.
Esparragoza, as we talked about at the top of the show, trying to get that left jab working. You see him probing out there. Sometimes he snaps it, other times he just leaves it out there, kind of tempting, trying to draw Cruz in. Then he fires the right hand.
The bloody nostril of Esparragoza seems to have been taken care of between rounds. He looks fresh. And right now the crowd trying to get Cruz off his horse.
And it's not booze, it's Cruz.
Get Cruz on his horse. Off his duff, because so far Randy Gordon's card has Esparragoza head on points.
Hey, there's that right hand by Esparragoza.
Best action of the fight right here, both trading right hands. And you said Antonio looking to really load up. He's got some excellent combination.
And right now Esparragoza going to work against Stevie Cruz, and Cruz is in a bit of a jam right here.
I think he's in more than a bit of a jam. I think he's hurt.
Cruz
He's fighting on instinct right now.
Yeah, he's reacting right now, but dropping those hands.
Watch those low blows.
Look at the left hand to the body right there. Looks like Alexis Aguilera. Esparragoza fighting a real strong, solid fight.
Action speeding up with about 10 seconds to go here in round 3, and Esparragoza with that reach advantage, putting it to work. Coming over the head with that right cross, as he's wont to do. We'll be back in a minute. Stay with us.
Alexis Arguello in his prime as he worked up and down. The left hook to the liver. Cruz was hurt in that round.
Well, Esparragoza's never been 15 rounds. He may have to go that far tonight, but from the looks of it, he may not.
He doesn't want to. He does not want this fight to go to decision. It seldom goes for the visitor, much like Esparragoza. And the fact that Stevie Cruz is always in great condition, and the decision is, the longer this fight goes, it's probably better for Stevie Cruz.
And Cruz did go 15 against McGuigan. The only time he's been more than 10, and of course he got that decision in Las Vegas in June of last year.
Manager Dave Gorman says Stevie Cruz's left jab is like a jab of somebody maybe 2 divisions higher. And that's talking about maybe the lightweight division. I don't see it tonight.
I don't either. And if you're going to say something about a jab, I think Antonio's jab looks pretty sharp tonight.
Well, boxing people in the know will tell you that Cruz probably won't be able to move up in category, although he does have the strength. Can he put on the extra weight? More importantly, can he get by Esparragoza tonight? He's having problems with that right now.
At the start of this fight, we showed you the tail of the tape. We saw the historical reach, 69 inches for Esparragoza, 68 for Cruz. But just taking their jabbing arm, it's about 2.5 inches longer for Esparragoza. And at this point, it seems like it's about 2.5 yards longer. He is reaching Stevie Cruz anytime he wants to. The second warning of the round. Referee tells Esparragoza keep. The punch is up.
Ismael Fernandez with the warning. Again, you have to point back to the experience factor, although both with just 28 pro fights.
Another low shot from Esparragoza. I think if he does it one more time this round, he might lose a point.
And he hit him a couple times in that third round low, too. This isn't the first time for Esparragoza hitting low.
That time he saw Stevie Cruz get hit low, except it was low on the chin.
Stevie Cruz fighting off balance now, and a good posture by Esparragoza. Good defense, and he's unleashing right now against Cruz, and Cruz is in trouble.
His knees buckled.
Esparragoza missing with a lot of those shots, though, right at the end of that flurry.
And he's got Cruz exactly where he wants him. Throwing a lot of leather right now. Cruz just going on sheer gut instinct.
He came in with another low blow, too.
We pointed out that Stevie Cruz has never been cut, but he is now swelling underneath the right eye.
Well, he also showed some swelling after that nondescript performance against Arevalo back in November. That was a 10-round split decision. That's his only fight in 8 months since beating McGuigan.
That right eye is going to break open. Underneath, it's around the cheek area, the high cheek area, right side.
We'll be back in just a minute. Stay with us.
That's right. He's having problems with that right now.
At the start of this fight, we showed you the tail of the tape. We saw the historical reach, 69 inches for Esparragoza, 68 for Cruz. But just taking their jabbing arm, it's about 2.5 inches longer for Esparragoza. And at this point, it seems like it's about 2.5 yards longer. He is reaching Stevie Cruz anytime he wants to. The second warning of the round, the referee tells Esparragoza keep. The punch is up.
Ismael Fernandez.
That time he saw Stevie Cruz get hit low, except it was low on the chin.
Stevie Cruz fighting off balance now, and a good posture by Esparragoza. Good defense, and he's unleashing right now against Cruz, and Cruz is in trouble.
His knees buckled.
Esparragoza missing with a lot of those shots, though, right at the end of that flurry.
And he's got Cruz exactly where he wants him. Throwing a lot of leather right now. Cruz just going on sheer gut instinct.
He came in with another low blow, too.
We pointed out that Stevie Cruz has never been cut, but he is now swelling underneath the right eye.
Well, he also showed some swelling after that nondescript performance against Arevalo back in November. That was a 10-round split decision. That's his only fight in 8 months since beating McGuigan.
That right eye is going to break open. Underneath, it's around the cheek area, the high cheek area, right side.
We'll be back in just a minute. Stay with us.
As you can see, they're working pretty feverishly in the corner on Stevie Cruz. Randy mentioned he hadn't been cut in over 260 amateur fights, 28 professionals. But I'll tell you, if Antonio continues to work like he did in the next round, like he did in the fourth, that cut will soon become apparent.
You heard the whistle, 10 seconds to the bell as we get into round number 5, and Randy Gordon's card has Esparragoza ahead on all counts.
And 2 10-8 rounds to boot, so Cruz has got his work cut out for him.
I like using the points. It's done on 10-point scoring system. The loser gets 9 or less, and I see Cruz, especially in the last 2 rounds, having done nothing.
And I got a feeling Esparragoza wanted to finish business at the end of last round, and he's coming out like he wants to end this in round number 5 when he had him over here by the ropes.
Cruz can't fight him on the outside because he's outreached, he's outsped, and whenever he tries to get close, Esparragoza just beats him to the punch over and over again.
Esparragoza with knockouts in 5 of his last 6 fights, including one over Johnny De La Rosa. Cruz is on an 8-fight winning streak after losing to Valdez. He was hit on the chin and taken out early, and right now he's getting ready to break open under that eye of his. It's very much swollen. Cruz once again in trouble here in round 5.
Well, we all know Cruz can take a good punch because McGuigan said he hit him with some great shots in that fight back in June, and Cruz did not go down. So Esparragoza's really got his work cut out for him as far as combining his punches.
Right,
he's doing a nice job of it.
When he got stopped in the first round in March '84, he just got caught cold. It can happen to anybody.
Well, they talk about McGuigan being the hardest puncher in the division since Danny Little Red Lopez, and Cruz took it all and more. Put McGuigan down twice in the last round, but so far he's having problems, quite frankly, and he's behind in our card.
Way behind.
Another low shot by Esparragoza. He's getting away with some low shots. He's only been warned twice, and he's drilled about 8 or 9 shots south of the border. Some of the shots are landing down around Caracas.
The Jerry Cooney school of boxing.
Almost looks like Stevie's trying to pull his pants up because he's got hit below the belt so much.
Stevie's moving the hands, and for the first time, he backed Esparragoza up.
Boy, a lot on the line for Stevie Cruz tonight. He's got a 16-year-old wife with child. He still doesn't have a whole lot of money in the bank. Only won 70 grand when he beat McGuigan. He'll net 100,000 tonight, win or lose. And look at this action here in the corner.
Both men landing some good shots, but I'll tell you, Antonio Esparragoza doing some pushing, but Cruz came out looking like he's ready to mix it up some more.
Hey, guys, you think the title means anything to these two fighters? I see some blood on the right side of the face of Esparragoza.
Yeah, that happened a couple of rounds ago, Randy, and they worked on it well, but now it's opened back up, so Esparragoza's not coming away clean, as you can see.
Cruz's hands are a lot lower than they were when his fight started, and Esparragoza just overshooting those hands, and now he's getting inside.
I think the blood is coming from the right nostril of Esparragoza.
Yeah.
I see no cuts over his eye. We'll have to watch when they go back to the corner.
And we've seen some late hits. Something in order along those lines yet?
Well, it could be coming. So far, nothing has come.
Esparragoza's gotten away with, at least, as Randy said, 10 or 12, and he's only got called on about 2.
There's the chant again. Cruz, Cruz, Cruz.
We're in the 6th round of a scheduled 15-rounder for the WBA featherweight title. Stevie Cruz's first defense. He had a non-title fight decision over Roger Arevalo.
There's that jab you were talking about. That had a lot more sting behind it, as did that one. So maybe Stevie, 15 minutes into the fight, is starting to gain a little momentum. Esparragoza still looks very quick, though.
Esparragoza's just taking some pot shots now. He's conserving himself a bit. Instead of throwing so many punches, he's trying just to be a sharpshooter.
We had heard about the speed of Cruz, but I would say that Esparragoza with better speed and savvy than most South American fighters. Esparragoza's shown us some good stuff here.
Fans watching Esparragoza for the first time are saying, who is this guy?
All right, Cruz going to work now, and he's got Esparragoza up against the ropes.
And it was a nice right hand which stopped Esparragoza in his tracks.
And now Esparragoza is in trouble, and Cruz picking up the steam just like he did against McGuigan. He seems to reach down after 4 or 5 rounds.
Well, Frankie Duarte against Bernardo Penango, one of the fights of the year, and right now we've got a dandy on our hands.
If there's one word that Stevie Cruz does not like in his repertoire, it's conservative. His father says he doesn't know how to finish as early as he should. At that point, I'm sure his dad might have a few words to say because he had him on the ropes over there. Esparragoza did a nice job of spinning away, but Stevie might have ran out of gas over there.
Stevie does a lot better when he's coming forward. When he's backing up, he allows the reach of Esparragoza to take over.
And Esparragoza working that right again.
And a left hook to the body, unmerciful. Doesn't he remind you a bit of Alexis Aguero?
Yeah, he does. He works the body very, very well.
Still shaking that right out there, keeping Stevie Cruz's attention.
Hey, Stevie Cruz would rather have him shake it than land it.
Would like to see Arguello back, wouldn't you? I mean, Billy Costello, his last victim, but he had medical problems, and we'll see no more of Alexis Arguello. But he certainly was a great champion in his own right, and Stevie Cruz trying to defend his title tonight.
As you mentioned, John, a lot on the line for Stevie Cruz as we end round number 6. a lot on the line in respect that there's talk with the McGuigan people of heading over to London. A $500,000 guarantee, the biggest payday. You could combine all Stevie Cruz's paydays and not come up with a $500,000. He could get it. A big fight for him tonight. Of course, there's always a Zuma Nelson. He told me on the phone the other day, a Zuma Nelson fight possibly in the offing. So Stevie Cruz, this fight means a lot financially. Esparragoza thinks the title should be his anyway because he wanted to fight McGuigan before Stevie Cruz got a shot at him.
Well, there was a proviso in that first contract. Yeah, you're the boss out there, Stevie says, his corner man, but there's been a falling out between McGuigan and his manager, Barney Eastwood, and now that the rematch may be in jeopardy, and the outcome of this fight is also in doubt. Let's take a look at some of that action from the 6th round.
I gave round number 6 to Stevie Cruz. I thought he had a good first 2 minutes, but then Esparragoza started coming on strong, finished very, very strong. It was a close round. I still thought Cruz won it.
Well, Stevie Cruz might have gassed out on that flurry over there in the right corner, so we'll see how it is, but he does seem to be more into the fight.
This was the turning point in the McGuigan fight back in June. Steve Cruz caught fire and went on to the victory. Right now, Randy Gordon has Esparragoza ahead 4 rounds to 2.
But the 10-8 rounds, as Randy has in the early rounds, certainly could become a factor. Of course, Randy's not going to be turning his card into the judges, but...
No, our judges do. Jutras, Masakazu Uchida, and A Torres will handle those duties, and inside the ring refereeing is Ismael Fernandez. And Fernandez has had his hands full tonight with the low blows by Esparragoza and the late blows by Esparragoza.
Should the fight stay at this pace, you know the winner will be the guy in the best condition.
Well, certainly for 6 long weeks, Cruz was training in the desert outside of Dallas, his own form of concentration camp, readying himself because he knew Esparragoza would be the one to take his title, if anyone.
There's a swelling now underneath the left eye of Stevie Cruz, so he's got a problem with the right eye closing on him, and underneath the left eye now there's a lump.
You know, watching Esparragoza, he's been slipping some excellent punches. Right now, Cruz is landing a little more, but right now some excellent combinations by Esparragoza. Another low blow.
Well, Cruz with the hands up, but Esparragoza is just going right through, and that right eye looks vicious now. It's black and blue and about ready to pop open, but there's been some good corner work so far. Certainly on Esparragoza because he had the bloody nose, which is causing him to have dried up.
After this round, Stevie Cruz's corner has got to put some very heavy pressure on the swelling of the right eye. I don't know how much time he's got left. Because now it becomes a point, it's not just swelling. Soon his vision will be affected if it's not already. He's not going to see the left hooks coming, and I'm surprised Esparragoza is not throwing that many left hooks.
And you don't want to see any more than one of Esparragoza in front of you because
One's enough.
He's certainly been a good challenger tonight, no question about it. So 7 rounds now complete. We're going 15. If they'll let us go that far. Right now the action's picking up. We'll take a timeout and be back.
Fight, and learns to adjust to it during the course of the fight. Stevie's never had the problem. It'll be a new thing for him, more of a problem for him than for most fighters.
I think it's a combination of the impending cut and the pain he's going through right now.
Round 8. John Losing, Randy Gordon, and Hugh Millay with you ringside here at Will Rogers Coliseum in Fort Worth. Stevie Cruz is the Fort Worth favored son, and so far he's been in a fight. The part-time plumber's helper from Fort Worth, Texas. He lost to Valdez a couple of years ago. Returned to work as a $5 an hour plumber's helper, a job he still holds.
But he did get a raise at the McGuigan fight.
He did get a raise.
From $6.50 an hour to $7.50 an hour. You see why he wants to keep the title?
All right, again, Cruz setting the pace and working on Esparragoza up against the ropes, but Esparragoza breaks out.
Esparragoza did some nice defense there on the ropes. He kept those arms tucked in, picked the shots off, and when he took them, his body is in real fine shape. Look at the speed on that right uppercut.
Yeah, Esparragoza at times looks like a brawler even. He is stronger than his featherweight classification would indicate. Very strong fighter.
I tell you this, Esparragoza tonight, I think would give Azuma Nelson a tough night.
It's going to take a guy with the quickness of Esparragoza to take care of Mr. Azuma when he finally gets back to the fighting and quit worrying about his things going on outside the ring.
Esparragoza has put shots on Stevie Cruz's chin and body. I think a lot of other featherweights would have been on the floor a long time ago. Oh, solid punches by Esparragoza. Flush.
And scoring true with those uppercuts as well now.
The resiliency of Cruz is amazing, but every time he seems to get something going, Esparragoza will throw 3 or 4 punches to get his attention again. Some great comeback just during the round by Antonio. He never lets the momentum get away from him.
Esparragoza sometimes likes to settle down, take a deep breath. When he does, Stevie Cruz lets him get away with it.
This could be one of your catch-your-breath rounds we talked about earlier tonight. Both guys seem to be willing to just kind of dance around, although Esparragoza continues to throw pretty good leather.
Esparragoza has things going his way. He slugs when he wants to slug. He boxes when he wants to box. He rests when he wants to rest.
When he does slow it down, though, it gives Cruz a chance to take a look at the face of Esparragoza. And again, he is bleeding through that nose. Nothing debilitating just yet. So
look how easy he just slaps away the jab of Stevie Cruz. Holds out his right hand and just slaps it away.
So far, no knockdowns through 7 rounds.
At Esparragoza.
Well, it's time for Stevie Cruz to make a move because he's way behind on our scorecard. And this is about one, as I said before, the middle rounds where the McGuigan was the McGuigan key in the fight back in June.
Neutral judges here tonight. There was a flack about that before the fight. Stevie Cruz wanted somebody from the state of Texas as one of the scoring judges, but according to the WBA, you must have 4 neutral officials, and we do tonight. Ismael Fernandez is our referee.
Donald Curry got up from his chair, came over to the Cruz corner, whispered something in Mad Dog Hatcher's ear over there, and I'm sure there'll be some, once again, the Cruz committee getting together after this round.
Well, I think they're still very much, they feel like they are still very much in this fight, no doubt about it, behind on points, but Cruz at times does show flashes of excellence.
Unfortunately, they are just flashes. Esparragoza has been showing a flash about 180 seconds every round. He just looks so good doing anything he wants to do. As we said at the top of the show, the challenger has come here to take the title.
He's not getting big bucks for it, but he's certainly ready for big bucks if he looks as good as this in his future fights.
Cruz got a hometown majority decision over Victor Acosta in 1984. Should this go the distance? Again, the home crowd favoritism might sway, but right now, definitively, we do have Esparragoza ahead on points. We're in round 9.
Fans who have seen world-class Johnny De La Rosa. Well, Johnny De La Rosa was knocked out, I mean savaged, by Esparragoza about 2 years ago. That gives you a clue that the man can fight. And then, of course, watching him here tonight, you know that this is a featherweight who will be around for some time to come, as long as he decides to stay in this kind of shape.
He almost looks like if he had to put on 4 pounds, 4 or 6 pounds, Randy, I'm pretty sure that with his kind of frame at 5'8", 5'9", he probably could jump up a weight class.
Esparragoza with a forced smile, and now he's being assessed.
Point wasn't deducted. And the hometown crowd says it's just about time. Dave Gorman finally getting his wish over there in the corner.
So it's another round that I believe Esparragoza is winning. So if at the end I wind up scoring this at 10-9, and if you're scoring at home, score at 10-9, take that point away, you can call it an even round. That's if you decide that Esparragoza was winning the round.
Looking for that scorecard doubleheader May 1st. Binklin Thomas in action, although James Buster Douglas has business against Tony Tucker. And, of course, Edwin Rosario. Here's the low blow.
Right. Coming up right.
Right uppercut.
Ooh. Yeah, as you said, below the border, Randy.
That was a bit, that wasn't towards Caracas, that was like Maracay.
It's not unusual for the champion to go to the hometown of the challenger. This fight coming to Fort Worth, though, through the efforts of Josephine Abercrombie and the Houston Boxing Association.
Well, Nancy Reagan might be the first lady of this country. Josephine Abercrombie, the first lady of boxing. On my unofficial scorecard, I've got Stevie Cruz behind by 6 points. That means if this should go 15 rounds, he has to win this round and every other round just to salvage a draw.
Well, the draw is one thing Esparragoza does not want. He's drawn 3 times, including once against Bernardo Checa. Later beat Checa. Cruz still looks unfazed, though. He comes back after every bell and sets up camp and goes right back to work, although we haven't seen the blood from under his eye just yet.
But the swelling is certainly there, and I think the eyesight, as Randy mentioned, is certainly going to be a factor. And it can't be that good, and you're kind of waiting for Antonio to unload on that left hook, because you got to wonder if Stevie would see it coming.
I'm really surprised Esparragoza is not opening up to the head with double and triple hooks, because even if he throws a triple hook and one gets in, or if 2 miss, one still will get in. He's just probing with the jab, throwing a lot of body shots, but leaving the head alone with the hook.
Cruz got him in the corner. Just watch Esparragoza does a nice spin job and gets out of it.
Esparragoza has done that a couple of times, gotten out of trouble, and now turns the tables. He's got Cruz backed up now. Cruz fighting with his mouth open just a little bit. That's always a bad sign.
We mentioned that herky-jerky movement of a lot of the Venezuelan fighters, and from time to time you see Esparragoza do it. He steps to either side, up and down, in and out. You never know where he's going to come from next.
Esparragoza stalking. He stalks his opponent. He's a very savvy fighter. You can see him planning his shots.
Cruz is reaching deep down inside himself now. He knows that title is slipping away.
20 seconds to go here in round 10. We'll go 15 if need be for Cruz to defend his title. Both fighters with only 1 loss apiece. We'll be back in just a minute. Stay with us, everybody.
Now Steve Cruz, as we mentioned before the end of the round, Esparragoza, every time Cruz gets something together, Esparragoza just raises the level of his competition and goes in and gets Antonio.
Back for round 11, John Lawson, Randy Gordon, Hugh Millay. We ought to mention the victory over McGuigan by Cruz, surrounded by 2 mediocre performances. The split win over Rocky Garcia in '85, followed by that 10-round non-title win over Roger Arevalo. So Cruz certainly trying to impress the fans tonight, the boxing experts, the judges, his wife, and himself, because he does have something to prove tonight. His first real shot with his defense.
Give a round of applause so far to one of the cornermen of Stevie Cruz, Ron Hatcher, the father of former junior welterweight champ Gene Hatcher. He's using that end swell device absolutely perfect. He's leaning on it, and then you lean on it for about 8 or 10 seconds hard, and then you slide it back towards the ear, and it takes the fluid called the edema and moves it back into the cavity and out of the swelling area. And so far, that swelling is staying down. But Cruz had better get to work.
Those are shots of Cruz, not Booz, although sometimes you wouldn't know. Cruz has had his problems tonight, but he's been hanging in there, and right now he's taking Esparragoza into the 11th round.
Esparragoza has just thrown so many punches, as Randy said, from so many different angles. The guy is just a puzzle to figure out, and he reminds me a lot of Bernardo Fernandez from the aspect, these guys, you never know where they're coming from, and they slip a punch so well, and he changes stances so well.
There he threw a shot with some bad intentions on it, and then he just stepped away. And so many of the shots that the challenger is throwing, they do have bad intentions.
Esparragoza's right thigh initialed AE. Antonio Esparragoza, he is Venezuela's hero tonight. We've got him ahead after 10 rounds of activity.
Well, the fight was looking a little sloppy here in the 11th round. As soon as I say that, Antonio makes it look bad.
Well, this is uncharted territory for Esparragoza. He's never gone more than 10.
Bang, 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 bang. I mean, one after another. Just Esparragoza letting both guns go.
Up over the top, around the corner, underneath. Esparragoza firing away at will.
Trying to finish it up right here in the 11th. Unloading some nice right, but Cruz, as you mentioned, Randy, is taking some vicious shots and keeps on coming back.
Cruz in excellent shape, and as you fellows have mentioned earlier, that's going to be his saving grace as we get into the waning rounds here.
I love the good life.
Time for a KO for the man in green right there.
Stevie Cruz has to come up with the greatest punch he has ever thrown. Might have to be one of those Hail Mary sucker shots. Close your eyes and let it go.
But you have to wonder, even if he throws that, Esparragoza still looks so fresh and solid on his feet. You'd have to wonder if it would even affect Antonio Esparragoza.
Well, it was back in the 5th round when a big right hand, perhaps Stevie Cruz's best punch of the fight, did not stagger Esparragoza, but he felt that his knees wobbled for a moment against the ropes. But Cruz could never put another shot on his chin.
One of the few times he has been buckled because he's working on a solid foundation tonight. Good defensive posture. And look at him right there. Looking really a lot like he did in the early rounds.
Cruz getting a couple good jabs there. Once again, Antonio could just be buying a little time here. He's so far ahead of the scorecard. Cruz holding on.
And now Ismael Fernandez wants the medical folks to check him out because Cruz indeed looks to be in sorry shape with a swelling around his eye.
Dr. William Gardner is taking a look at the eye. And I believe he's saying, yeah, it's okay.
Play on, says the referee, and that we will here in round 12. Esparragoza in trouble, though. I think what we're seeing now are both eyes swelling up. Just
left one definitely, right one definitely, and now left one's getting a little mouse under it.
Some new damage on that left eye now. But Esparragoza peppering Cruz now. Cruz having problems. And there he goes down for the first time in the fight.
That was a left. Excellent left.
And onto the buckle goes Esparragoza.
He will try to finish Cruz now. It was a beauty of a left hook which sent him down. And here comes Esparragoza.
Late in the 12th round, the first knockdown of the fight. Cruz went down on his behind, got up.
That's it.
And that'll be stopped.
That'll be it.
And that'll be up. We have a new champion in the WBA featherweight category. It's all over for Stevie Cruz. And congratulations to Antonio Esparragoza, the new champion in the WBA featherweight division. Only a matter of time, gentlemen, and I think after 12 rounds, to say that Cruz hung on that long is saying something.
He took some shots the entire time. He never did get going in this fight, and that's directly related to the excellent fight plan of Antonio Esparragoza.
Just one of the most masterful performances I have seen by a challenger in a long time. And he did it yet in the backyard of the champion.
27-year-old Antonio Esparragoza out of Caracas, Venezuela. We'll try to get an interview with Esparragoza. We'll have a translator on him because Esparragoza speaks no English, but he's the new champion. And greetings from beloved one. Congratulations, Esparragoza. Disappointed crowd here, Randy, but I tell you what, he was the better fighter tonight.
Well, they booed him when he came into the ring tonight, but there's not too many boos because they know that what they saw tonight was the making of perhaps an outstanding champion.
Let's go back to the 12th round now. This is late in that round.
Cruz had been getting hammered, and there is that beauty of a left hook.
Really snapped his head back, and that's the first time he went down.
He got up, but Esparragoza was in the corner waiting for him, jumped all over him, and then it was another left hook that sent him down, and as he went down, the referee stopped the fight.
And let's take a look at the second knockdown. That's when Ismael Fernandez came in, and all this, keep in mind, after Dr. William Gardner had checked the eyes of Stevie Cruz, they said continue on, and there it was, the telling blows against Stevie Cruz. So the reign comes to an end for Stevie Cruz. It lasted less than 1 year, about 8 months. He had one fight as a champion, a non-title fight win. We have told you that story, and tonight his first challenge, and he does not meet it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the official time, 2 minutes and 28 seconds of round number 12. The winner by a technical knockout of the new World Boxing Association featherweight champion of the world, Antonio Esparragoza. We do have another bout to follow.
And now some well-deserved applause as the fans recognize what a good fight Esparragoza really did fight. He really was in charge, and except for a couple of problems earlier, it was pretty much his fight ready.
It certainly was from the opening bell. I only gave a few rounds to the former champion, Stevie Cruz. 2 of the rounds I gave to the new champion by 10-8 in rounds 3 and 4. He just hammered Cruz from one side of the ring to the other and back again.
All right, there you see Hugh Millay working on his interview, and we'll try to get it set up for you through a translator. Hugh, if you're ready, go ahead and take it away with Antonio Esparragoza.
A lot of well-wishers up here. Antonio, first of all, you had him from the start. There's no doubt. You came out, you were a confident fighter. Was there any doubt in your mind that you wouldn't leave with the title?
Dice que desde el principio se vio que tú lo dominaste completamente, que si tú creíste que el título era tuyo desde el principio.
Oh, yo de que entré a entrenar a los Estados Unidos, específicamente a Los Ángeles, yo estaba seguro porque no estaba preparando suficientemente con tiempo para ganar a Steve Cruz. Yo había analizado la pelea de Comaguía, las que tenía anteriormente, yo sabía que lo podía derrotar.
He says that since the beginning when he went to Los Angeles, he started to train hard because he knows he wants Steve Cruz the title because he's looking for Mayweather.
He seemed to be really gaining confidence from the home crowd. I mean, it was anti-Antonio, but he seemed to really like being the villain tonight.
Tony, dice él que Toño Esparragoza, mira, dice que desde el principio te notaste muy confiado en el triunfo. ¿Qué te hizo creer que le ibas a ganar en esta forma tan espectacular?
Bueno, la preparación que tenía cabalidad, tenía ya casi 3 meses preparándome al lado del Beijing, y ustedes, pues claro, lógicamente, con la alimentación y el alojamiento, o sea, fue una tensión más o menos adecuada para un campeonato mundial. Yo tomé la disciplina necesaria y lo hice.
He says he started he trained 3 months in Los Angeles, and he was prepared very good by his trainer Pedro Avila, who prepared him very well because he says he got confidence to win the title.
How tough was Stevie Cruz?
Dice que qué tan duro fue Steve Cruz para ti.
Bueno, él es un muchacho bastante fuerte, ya lo había demostrado anteriormente con McGuigan, pero yo creo que él desde el primer momento, en los primeros rounds, independientemente que él quería ponerle, pero yo me di cuenta desde el primer momento cuando empecé a apurar que él tenía un poco de respeto, o sea, no sé si sintió el peso de mi pegada o qué fue, pero concretamente se limitó a pelear de contragolpe.
He says that Steve Cruz is a very strong fighter, but he knew that he had respect, Steve Cruz had respect for him, not because of the right hand he has, and Steve Cruz had very respect for him.
He didn't get a shot at McGuigan. Would he like to fight Barry McGuigan in the future?
Dice que no tienes todavía una oferta de McGuigan, pero si te gustaría pelear con él por el título.
Lógicamente sería bueno pelear con McGuigan por cuanto es un hombre cotizado y depararía buenos dólares. También estoy dispuesto inclusive a retar hasta el campeón de la otra asociación.